Hey, greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, Senior Fellow at the Media Research Center. Well, we're just about a week away from the Super Bowl, and I can't wait. But there's a Super Bowl happening up there on Capitol Hill, a different version of a Super Bowl, something that has only happened in the United States of America, our history, only three times. And that's the impeachment of a sitting president. And when I think about this impeachment, I'm kind of reminded of Jim Croce's song, Big Jim. I know some of you are saying, man, Colonel, you're dating yourself. And what does Jim Croce's song, Big Jim, have to do with this impeachment hearing? Well, if you remember the refrain from that song that said, you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit in the wind, you don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. See, I think that the two House Democrat impeachment managers, Adam Schiff and Jerrold Nadler, should have listened to that song by Jim Croce, Big Jim, because what they did was, well, they went over to the United States Senate and they tugged on those senators' capes. See, having been a member of the United States House of Representatives, I will tell you that senators have a little bit of an elitist attitude about them. They are called the upper chamber, the more deliberative body in our legislative branch. And for Jerrold Nadler and Adam Schiff to, well, be the errand boys of Nancy Pelosi and go over to the United States House of Representatives and believe that they could speak to those senators the same way they would talk maybe during a CNN or MSNBC interview, well, as we say down south, that dog don't hunt. And so what they did was they broke open their Rules for Radicals book and they went through and they found their typical normal script that the progressive socialist left uses. Erroneously so, Adam Schiff and Jerrold Nadler thought that they could go over to the United States Senate and without any real case, they just figured that they could bully, intimidate, threaten, coerce, cajole U.S. senators and beat them down into acquiescing and compromising and surrendering to their will. Without a doubt, we now know that there is no case. There is no real evidence of treason, bribery, or other crimes, high crimes, and misdemeanors. And so therefore, the left did Nadler and Schiff, as they always do. They just try to push you around. Think about how Jerrold Nadler stood there and tried to lecture these sitting members of the upper chamber, these United States senators, and tell them that they were taking part of a cover-up and tried to lecture them about what their duty should be.
So far, I'm sad to say, I see a lot of senators voting for a cover-up, voting to deny witnesses, an absolutely indefensible vote, obviously a treacherous vote, a vote against an honest consideration of the evidence against the president.
See, this is not the same as Nadler sitting over there in the House of Representatives and speaking to the useful idiots, those people that sit on his same aisle. And then we saw him say that the president, the sitting president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, is a dictator. Well, the last time I checked history, dictators don't allow their political opposition to try to remove them from office. Dictators eliminate their political opposition. Doesn't seem that that dictator thing fits when you're standing there and you're impeaching a sitting president of the United States of America. See, the real dictators are those folks on the progressive socialist left side of the aisle. Because what they're seeking to do and what they want to implement by any means necessary is ideological domination. If there is any group of people that wants to eliminate, destroy, eradicate their political opposition, it's the left. And we know that. We saw that with a real dictatorial attitude, that of the Obama administration, because wasn't he the one that unleashed a federal government agency against American citizens? The constitutional conservative grassroots movement known as the Tea Party. And then, folks, there's Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff, who goes before the United States Senate and somehow comes up with this story that he says he read in CBS, but he says that he doesn't know if it's true, but he still delivered this message before the United States Senate that President Donald Trump had threatened Senate Republicans.
That a Trump confidant said that GOP senators were warned, vote against your president, vote against the president, and your head will be on a pike. Now, I don't know if that's true.
That's totally medieval. But that is also a reflection of the fact that there is no case. And so therefore, what Adam Schiff tried to do was use the same type of over-the-top hyperbole and rhetoric that maybe it could work at a rally with Antifa or a Democrat socialist rally. And the lines between those two are becoming a little bit indistinguishable. So what ends up happening? Schiff and Nadler probably steeled the resolve and the nerve of the folks that they thought that they could flip. And we know who we're talking about. But even more so, I think that they may have caused a couple of Democrats, just the same as over in the House when they had the impeachment vote, to defect from them. Joe Manchin of West Virginia, Doug Jones of Alabama. What the Democrats have to realize is that sometimes you don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit in the wind. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger. And you don't mess around with constitutional, conservative patriots. I think that's the lesson that Jim Croce's song could give to the progressive socialist left, because this endeavor has now failed.